All right, let's make sure. What's happening, everybody? I want to make sure that we got some audio. Okay.
All right.
All right, cool. Got audio. What's up, family? Happy New Year. Happy New Year. 2026 is here. Super excited about all the wonderful things that are going to take place this year. Uh, I know that this is going to be an extremely prosperous and successful year. I'm speaking that over your life. And Happy New Year. This is day 88 of the 90 days of value. We're on the home stretch, only 3 sessions left, including this one. It's been a wonderful 90 days. I want to thank each and every one of you for participating, for watching, for liking, sharing, all those things. I really, really appreciate it. Um, for those of you who do not know, my name is Mr. Kingdom Cash Charles Dyson. I am 39 years old. I have 10 children. I have not worked a traditional job since April of 2013. And over the years, I've been able to just continue to elevate with the information that I have. I have ran successful businesses from home and still running massively successful businesses from home, building passive income. And I'm also proud to have helped people around the world literally walk away from jobs in less than 365 days based on the information that I share, the skill sets that I teach, the frameworks that I give. I've been able to make big impact in people's lives all over the world. And I decided to go live 90 days straight, giving those different pieces of information that help shift mindsets, that really put you on a path to realizing that you can elevate, that you can make great money from home. And I truly believe that financial elevation starts with acquiring higher quality information, right? That you can apply and begin to turn that information into money. So it's been a powerful uh, 87 days, right? The last 87 installments of this 90 days of value have been nothing short of amazing. And today will be no different, right? And today's today's 90 days of value is something that, you know, I realized as I began to change my life and elevate. And I say it all the time, but I want to go into detail of what I mean when I say it. And this saying that I articulate all the time is, you were born into a system. That's the title of today's 90 days of value. You were born into a system. And I want to go into great detail what I mean when I say that. I think it's extremely important for you to understand this particular subject matter, simply because um, if you understand this, then you can make better decisions. Um, you're more aware and you can make better decisions to move your life towards exactly where you want it to go. Okay, so let's get into it. So you were born into a system. Um, First of all, this system was in operation long before you got here. It's extremely important to understand that, right? It is no fault of your own. And I know anybody watching this, you know, financially, if you are in a place where you're trying to figure it out, you're trying to elevate, and you're looking at your life, right? Um, I don't want you to feel bad about where you are. Um, you know, it's not all your fault. It'd be egregious to say that it's all your fault, because you were born into a system. This system was not meant to educate you about money. The system is not meant for everybody to end up wealthy, right, and rich. That's not the system that we live in, right? So although self-accountability is important, it's also important to understand nuance, right? You did make decisions that got you to where you are today. But if we go to the genesis of why millions of people end up struggling financially, is really because the system is designed to withhold information from you, right, about finances, and for you to make decisions based on education, education, um, that lead into what I call debt traps. I realize this. These debt traps are laid, right, to put you in a position where compound interest is working against you. So you spend a lifetime um, giving your time, effort, and energy towards making these payments, to maintaining life, right? Um, and it's important. That's why this is a very nuanced conversation, and it's important to understand. Um, one, that you remove your identity from a dollar amount in your bank account. You remove your identity from a credit score on your credit profile. You remove your identity from your social security number. These things are assigned to you, okay? So the system can judge you based on these numbers. And if you wrap your identity up into these numbers, then emotionally you start to feel bad because of where you are. And believe it or not, those feelings have residual effects for what you can do in your present and in your future. If you think higher of yourself, then you'll be able to be in the mind frame where you can make better decisions, and better decisions can lead to better results. But if you are of the mentality where you are what your credit score is, you are what your bank account balance is, and that frequency is weighing, that emotion is weighing you down, you can't operate from a higher frequency to change it. That's why you have to detach your identity from these things. The system is not meant to encourage you. It's not meant for upward mobility. That's the best way I can put it. Right? It's meant for you to stay where you are and be the leverage for these billion-dollar entities. Right? That's what the system is designed to do. Okay? All right. So now that you understand that you were born into this system, and this system was in operation long before you ever got here, now it's important for you to understand how the system operates. How the system operates. And when you understand how the system operates, you can use the system to your advantage, right? You can use the system to your advantage. And this, like I said, this is controversial, right? Because it's controversial because of what other people believe. And I'll get into it over the next few minutes of why I am so um, firm on my position when it comes to these debt traps. Okay. And so, first of all, think about your education. Okay. Um, and I'm going to lump everybody into a category. Okay. Either you were raised affluent or you weren't. No in between. Either you were raised affluent or you weren't. If you were raised affluent, you had access to higher quality information, right? And it probably led you down a path of comfort in your life right now. If you weren't raised in an affluent environment, then there's two paths. There's a fork in the road. Either you had guidance with some higher quality information that led to a path that might put you in a more comfortable position today, or right, well, really three paths. You were led down a path that put you in a more comfortable position today, but you still fell in those debt traps. So even though you have things and things look comfortable, if you look under the hood financially, there are some decisions that were made, right, based on education that got you to where you are, and you're still just above breaking even. Or the third path is you never was privy to this information. You made some decisions based on education that put you in a position where now you are in that loop of paying compound interest to these different entities, right? Those are the three paths. And I want you to notice something about two of those paths. Compound interest is the issue. Not understanding it and being the one paying it multiple different ways in your life. Whereas if you get on the other side of compound interest, then you're using the system to your advantage. And the reason why I keep putting education in quotations is because pretty much everything that we are taught about money is incorrect. If you did the complete opposite, you would be in a better position today. And I'm gonna get into that in a second, right? But drilling down on these paths, right? You got an education in grade school, you went to middle school, you went to high school, obviously. Those 12 years, what were you learning? Right? You learned a lot of history, language arts, right? Basic math, which is extremely important, right? But let's really talk about the life skills that you learned those first 12 years. If we take a look at those first 12 years of education, right? Really didn't prepare you for the world that you were about to enter into, right? And in those last 4 years, ninth, 10th, 11th, and 12th grade, there were common themes that were promoted to you, even more so for our children. If you have 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18-year olds, and you sit them down and have a conversation about what they're actually learning in school, the things that are being repeated to them over and over again, right? The only two paths that are advertised, I got to use that word because that's exactly what it is. These concepts are advertised to children. It's military and college, even down to the assignments. I remember, several of my daughters being given assignments in school where it was career based assignments, but they were based on jobs only. There was no investing, there was no skill set options. It was just jobs, literal jobs. And again, it's nothing against jobs. I'm not saying jobs are bad, but what I am saying is um, the working wage is not livable today, right? Minimum wage is not a living wage today, right? In America, it's not. And two minimum wage jobs could not take care of the average household in America. So, like I said, these are concepts that are being advertised. If you sat your children down, like I said, 13 to 18 years old, and really had a, a deep dive into the content and the information that's being spread to them, they will tell you the quality of the messaging that is repeated to them over and over again. It's a part of the system. It's not by accident. It's being promoted to them. Okay. And again, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with going to the military. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with going to college, but there are an abundance of options other than those two. Okay. This, you were born into a system, and this system has been in operation successfully long before you got here. And by the time you figure out that this system is actually operating and working on you, it's molding your decision making, you're already in debt. You're already trying to dig yourself out. So this is why it's important to understand how the system works. So one, you can make better decisions, and two, so the next generation that comes after you has more options, has a better chance of creating that upward mobility into upper middle class. I mean, excuse me, uh, upper class, right? When it comes to socioeconomic status, right? Rich, wealthy, those terms, right? So then you graduate with your high school diploma and you're promoted, like what's being promoted to you your whole entire childhood is go to college, 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 right? And so I talked about this in length when I talked about the American dream, which was on day 66, the American dream that was sold to you. You need to go back and listen to day 66 because I go into this in great detail, right? But if we simplify what the American dream is, it really is, buying a house, having a nice car, the car of your dreams, having a very nice income, being able to vacation more than once a year. The American dream. But the way it's packaged is around three major decisions, three of the biggest financial purchases that you will make in your life. And what are those financial purchases? It is a house, it is a car, and it is a education, a collegiate education. Three biggest financial decisions that you will make in your life. And what do all three of those decisions require if you don't come from an affluent financial background? It requires loans. So, in essence, who benefits from these decisions of buying a house, buying a car, and going to college? The bank. The bank. What are the tallest buildings in any city that you go to? Any metropolitan city, who has the tallest buildings in the city? The banks do. And that's not by accident. These are 9-figure, right? Skyscrapers, right? 10-figure skyscrapers, 10-figure buildings. And they have enough money to build them in every city. Think about it. Think about it. Banks make a lot of money. And the reason why is because these big purchases are made by literally hundreds of millions of people. And talking about America alone, let alone all over the world. So hundreds of millions of people are making these very big financial decisions, and your children are being promoted to, throughout their schooling, that there is one path that will lead to a good life, and that is going to get a college degree. Now, here's where it gets controversial. You ready? College does not guarantee great money in your life. College does not guarantee that once you graduate with that degree, that you will end up making a lot of money. College does not guarantee that. It shouldn't be a controversial statement because it's actually a factual statement. It's a factual statement. It's more factual today than ever before. I know plenty of people that, one, got a degree and they're not doing anything related to what they got their degree in. Two, I know a lot of people who got a degree and can't find a job within the industry that they got their degree in. Three, I know plenty of people who got a bachelor's degree, went back and got a master's degree, and still can't get a job in the area that they got their degree in. And if they did, guess what? They're not making the type of money that they thought they were going to make. There's people walking around with PhDs that are not working in the industry that they got their PhD in. On resume, on paper, on LinkedIn, it looks beautiful. But that doesn't determine whether you're making great money or not. You would think it does, but it doesn't. Hello, somebody? So while your children are being promoted to go to college and get a degree, we have to ask a very critical question. If all the things that I just mentioned are true, which they are factual, the question you got to ask yourself is why? Why is this being promoted so heavily, right? In 2026, 2025, right? In the times that we live in, where this was a working system 40, 50 years ago, 60 years ago, in the 60s, in the 50s, in the 60s, into the 70s, this was a viable solution. I mean, the dollar was worth way more back then. You in the 70s, you could get a law degree for less than $16,000. A bachelor's law degree will cost less than $16,000. That same law degree is upwards of, the bachelor's one is upwards of $150,000 and growing every year. I mean, if you want to talk about a business that is raking in money, I mean, colleges can raise the price for the same degrees every year with impunity, with no conversation about it whatsoever. And guess what? That pipeline will continue to be filled. People will continue to send their children into this pipeline to get these degrees that are actually worth less than they were worth 40 years ago. So we have to look at the system with sober eyes and judge it for what it is. Because think about it. They're gonna, if they aren't on scholarship for academics, or they aren't on scholarship for athletics, I'm talking about 100% full ride. Let's say at least 80% full ride. I would even go venture to say 80% full ride. They're going into massive debt to get that degree. And guess what? They're going to need a vehicle. How do they get that vehicle if they haven't made any money? You see, you're starting your life out with compound interest working against you from the very beginning. You've been on the earth 18 years, 19 years, 20 years, 21 years old. And the path that you're being ushered into, the decisions that you're making, the two of the three biggest decisions of your life, of your entire life, are made before the age of 21. And usually made between the age of 18 and 20 years old. 2 of the 3 largest financial decisions in your life are made between the ages of 18 to 20 years old. And then let's not even talk about the 4th thing on top of that is I remember being in college, I was bombarded with mail from credit card companies. That's the 4th one. But remember, each of these decisions, what decisions are I'm talking about? What decisions am I discussing right now? Let's talk about it again. Buying a house, buying a car, college education. Now the 4th one, credit cards. All of these come with interest payments. All of these come from banks. Banks are benefiting from these decisions. So 2 out of the 4, for certain. If you go to college, if you don't have a scholarship, guess what? Student loan debt, compound interest. You're going to need a car at some point. And what are you going to have to do? You're going to have to get a loan. Compound interest, again, working against you. In college, I remember being broke and hungry. I'm telling you, I tried my hardest to stay away from credit cards, but I was hungry, y'all. Like, I got to eat. I got to eat. So guess what? I got me a credit card and I started eating, right? Guess what? Compound interest working against you. And then you get out of college and you need somewhere to live. Now you might rent, but eventually somebody's going to tell you, hey, you need to get yourself a house. You need to buy a house. And guess what? Again, the bank benefits. So if you've made 2 of those 4 decisions, at least compound interest is working against you. If you made all 4 decisions, guess what? Compound interest is working against you in all 4 of those decisions. And if you got the degree, chances are you're not making as much money as you thought you were going to be making. And so you got to figure out how to pay off all 4 of those things with compound interest working against you. And that's how you end up being in your 30s and being in your 40s, still paying off a college education that you went and got 20 years ago, taking 13, 14 years to pay off a car. The car be done broke down before you actually paid it off. I mean, come on, how many 18, 19-year-olds really understand how to take care of a car properly? Getting the oil changes on time, right? Making sure that you get maintenance on that car. And don't let it be a nice, like a real nice car, a foreign car. The maintenance on it, that's the real fees. The compound interest hurts, but the maintenance hurts too. And if you can't afford the maintenance, guess what? You're not going to take care of the car. And guess what? Then you end up with a car that you don't even have, that you got payments on. And then guess what? You got to go get another one. You see how this can snowball the wrong direction? All because of advertising to children to take a certain path. And you don't know no, when you're in high school, you don't know no better. If you don't have people guiding you, you don't know no better. You're just doing what you're told. You're just doing what you're told. And making these lifelong decisions with compound interest working against you well into your 30s, well into your 40s, well into your 50s. And people are just living life without thinking about how they got there. You're tired. You don't want to go to work. You're not happy about the industry that you're working in. This is the situation that a lot of people find themselves in. And they want to quit their job, but they can't. Why? Because you got these bills. And compound interest is working against you based on the decisions that you made. You were born into a system, and the system is a pipeline designed to get you into a situation where compound interest is working against you, and it works like that for a lifetime until you wake up, you get the right information, and you start understanding how the system works, how you ended up in that situation that you're currently in, and the actions that need to be taken to get you out. of that particular system to get you out of walking that path. All right, so I think I've articulated very well how the system works. And if you're watching this video, no matter where you are in the world, chances are there's a 90% chance that somewhere in what I just explained, you can see yourself. Chances are somewhere in what I just explained, you can see yourself and the decisions that you made and why you are exactly where you are today, right now, financially. The first thing is understanding how the system works, understanding what it's designed to do. And this is why I said it's controversial, but hey, I'm not, if there's a burning building, right? You were in the burning building. There's a fire that got started. You were unaware. You were unaware the fire has started. There's no smoke alarms. There's no lights flashing. But you could just sense something is wrong. And there's other people in the building with you. The building's actually on fire. The building's on fire. You run outside and turn around and look at the building and you can see it's on fire. Are you then going to turn around and tell your children, go run into that building? You know it's on fire. You can see something wrong. You're aware that something's wrong. And then you turn around to your children and say, hey, run into that building. Go ahead. It's okay. Forget the flames. Don't worry about it. Just run into the building. And because they're your children, they're going to listen to you. That's exactly how I view going to college. I was in it. I sensed something was wrong. I sensed something was wrong. The decisions that I was making, I knew something wasn't right, but I didn't know any better. My family told me this is what I'm supposed to do, so I did it. And I'm making these decisions, digging myself a hole for myself. Here's the thing about family telling you to do these things. They don't have to pay the money back. You do. You do. That compound interest is working against you. You got to pay it back. Right? So if I made it out the burning building and I turn around and I see the building on fire and something's wrong, why would I then turn around to my children and send them into the same building that I was in, that was on fire? Something is wrong. Look at the system. Look, pay attention when you go out shopping. Who's working? Senior citizens are working. People old enough to be our grandmother and grandfather are serving us. That's not how it's supposed to go. They should be at home, but they are working long, well into their 70s, into their 80s, because they can't stop. That is a glaring sign that something is wrong. And if you sit them down and talk to them about their decision making, about the way they led their life, I'm telling you, they made decisions based on what they were told and found out too late that, hey, this isn't working. And guess what? There was nothing they can do. They had to keep working. And then they get themselves caught up in a job, scared to leave because they don't think anybody else will hire them. They're stuck. And when I was 25, 26 years old, working around these senior citizens, it scared me. I saw myself in them. I saw myself heading down that same path. You have to pay attention. And again, I'm not saying college is bad, but I sat my children down and I talked to them about it. I teach them about this stuff. I teach them about the decision making that I did. And I teach them, hey, listen, I will support you. If you want to go to school, if you want to go to college, I need you to be aware of the decision that you're making. See, I got a plan for you. I've discovered how the system works. I've successfully turned the system into an ally, something that will help me. And I'll talk about that in a few minutes. I've turned the system into something that can help me rather than hurt me. And I have a plan to help you, my child, be in a better position and use the system to your advantage instead of making the same residual negative compound interest decisions that put your dad in the situation that he was in. But if you want to go, I'm going to educate you about how the system works. I'm going to prepare you for what the decision that you're about to make is. And we got to figure out how to get you some scholarships. And this starts in the 9th grade. These conversations started in the 7th, 8th grade. Hey, listen, A's and B's, A's for real. Because it's either going to be academic, hey, volleyball, football, baseball, right? Soccer, track and field, something. Because it's going to be academic scholarship or it's going to be athletic scholarship. And the third option is very uncomfortable, is working your way through college. Because listen, I have a plan for you. If you want to go against the plan, okay, cool. You want to go to college, great. You want to go back into that burning building that I just talked to you about, okay, great, cool. But let's do it wise. Let's get you 80% to 100% scholarship paid. And if that's not the case, then guess what? You will have to pay for it because you're making that decision. Or you can follow the path that daddy has for you and let me put you in a better position. Because I understand how the system works. So I'm not against college, but I am for, if you're going to go into that system, I am for doing it in a certain manner that is fiscally responsible. So you don't end up working when you get to 22, 23, 24, 25 years old, you're not starting your life with negative compound interest working against you. There is a way, right? You can avoid that negative compound interest from college. You can avoid negative compound interest from buying a brand new car off a car dealership lot. Well, you don't need a car note. You don't need one. And watch this. If you get one, you're going to operate like a bank. All right, so now we're getting into solutions. If you're going to go get a car note, you're going to operate like a bank. Now, this is where the financial education comes into play, understanding how the system works and then using the system to your advantage. These are conversations I have with my children, helping them understand, how does a bank make money? How does a bank make money? Okay, so now that you understand the debt traps, right? The 3 biggest purchases you'll make in your life: buying a home, buying a car, getting a college education, and you want to add the 4th in there, credit card debt. All compound interest that works against you. Okay, how do we use this information, this knowledge to our advantage? How do we flip the system that's designed to get us in negative compound interest and put it in a position where you can actually compound for you, money coming to you? You want to operate like a bank. How does a bank operate? You know what a bank does? A bank takes the money that we put into the bank. This is legal. This is 100% legal, what I'm about to describe. This is what every bank does. They take the money we deposit and put into those accounts. They take that money and they borrow it out. So they got to give you a small interest rate gain on the money that you put in the bank. But that money is not sitting there. It's just numbers on the screen in your online banking, right? Or your mobile banking. It's just numbers on the screen. That money is not sitting in the bank. That money is deployed and loaned out to who? To the people making those mistakes, those compound interest mistakes. Student loans, they make money. That interest, the compound interest that I keep discussing, the bank is earning that compound interest from your decision to go to school and get that loan for that degree. That car that you go get a loan on, that interest rate, the bank is making that interest. They're earning the compound interest on your decision to go into debt to get that car. The bank is making compound interest on that decision for you to go buy that house and get a loan. They're making the compound interest, right? And the credit card companies are benefiting, right? The bank is benefiting. If you go get that credit card with that interest rate, guess what? That interest, the bank is collecting it. So they have the money coming in. That's called arbitrage. They'll give you an interest, they'll give you money, a very small interest rate for parking your money in their banking institution, right? But they also will loan that money out and earn money on that money. So the interest rate that they're gaining is exponentially greater than the interest that they pay you for that money being in your bank account, right? So when I teach my kids, hey, you're going to operate like a bank if you're going to go get a loan. This is what I mean. If you're going to go get a car loan with a 6-7% interest rate on that car, then you need an asset that is earning you 12, 13, 14, 15% on your money, which is exponentially greater than the interest rate on the car. Therefore, the asset is paying for the car and not you. You see, this you operate and make decisions just like a bank. So now, watch this. If you do want to go to college, now your assets are paying for your college education. If you do want to go get that car loan, now the assets are paying for the car. If you do want to go buy that house, liability, you have assets, cash flowing assets that are going to pay for that house. Right? Now this is a high level conversation. Listen, I'm not a financial advisor. This should not be viewed as financial advice. I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm just some guy on Facebook going live, right? Seek professional help, okay? What I'm about to say should not be viewed or misconstrued as financial advice. I'm just talking about what I do. But if you're going to go get some credit cards, what are credit cards supposed to be used for? Not televisions, not couches or furniture, not trips to have fun and get experiences. No. Credit cards are supposed to be used to go get assets to make more money. Compound interest working for you. So if I got a 5% interest rate for borrowing this money from Visa, but I can take that money and go get an asset with it that's going to be cash flowing and making me money, the asset can pay the Visa card back. And now I got a recycled line of credit that I can use to go get more streams of income. See, I teach my kids to make decisions to operate like a bank because that's exactly what banks do. They leverage all of us and watch this, the miseducation that we received about what we're supposed to do with money and the decisions that we're supposed to make in our life. These big debt traps that are laid for us, compound interest working against us, that compound interest that works against us is working for these institutions. And any interest that they have to pay out to people that go out and use the financial information that they give, right? Like this, go get a CD. Go park your money in a CD for 5 years, 7 years, and we'll give you a small interest rate on that money. Go park your money in a 401k and we'll give you a small interest rate. We'll even match it, right? But watch this. You can't touch your money for 5 years. You can't touch your money for 7 years. And watch this. This is so cold. You know what the bank does with that money that you put in that CD? You know what the bank does with that money that you put in your 401k? They take it and go put it in the market to make more money. See, you got to think like a bank. They are taking your money and going into the market, making thousands of % on your money that you can't touch, that they'll penalize you for touching your own money. They're making money on your money. They don't invest their own money. They invest your money. You got to take that mentality and do it for yourself. I'm not going to invest my money. I'm going to go invest Visa's money, MasterCard's money. I'm not going to go invest my own money. I'm going to go borrow and get the money to go make me money. What day was that? Day 69. Go watch day 69 of the 90 Days of Value, where I talk about how investing is a lifestyle, right? Go watch day 71 of the 90 Days of Value, where I talk to you about what you identify with is the key to everything. You got the beginning of this video right here, where I talked about detaching your self-worth, detaching your value from your credit score, detaching your identity from your social security number, detaching your identity from your credit score. Day 71, you need to go listen to that. Okay. Day 71, you need to go listen to that. Day 74, getting out of debt should not be your goal. You got to understand what that means. Day 74. Day 75, do you know how a 401k works? I talked about that on day 75. Day 76, the very next day, why the system will never educate our children about money. I talk about this stuff. I go deeper into this subject matter. But yes, you were born into a system, and once you understand how the system works, then you can use the system to your advantage. And when I sit my children down and I educate them about these different topics, I ask them, right? I tell my kids, I'm not a dictator, but I know what I'm talking about. And I got a plan for your life. And I've outlined what that plan looks like and how we're going to build family wealth together. See, if you understood how powerful leverage is, you would be having these conversations with your children. I make it a point to be the biggest influence in my children's life. I don't want the school system influencing my children. I want to influence my children. So I got to talk to them. I got to spend time with them. You can't put them in front of a TV or with the tablet and not talk to them about life, about how this thing works. Because this is what I realized years ago. Wait a minute, I got 10 kids. That means I got 10 more social security numbers. Hold on. That means we got 30 credit scores. If each of my kids started 2 businesses, that's 20 businesses that we can go leverage and get funded in my house. That's millions of dollars of capital that we can deploy as a family and go leverage. See, your wealth is in your house if you start looking at it differently. I sit my kids down and I have these discussions with them. I teach them about this. And then I say, okay, what makes more sense to you? I sat my children down and talked to them about this. Okay, this is a scenario. And I did this on a previous video. You tell me what makes sense. This is what I did to my kids. There's $100,000 Mercedes Benz. Really nice. It looks beautiful, doesn't it? $100,000 Mercedes Benz, right? Or you can go buy a small apartment building for $100,000. Which one makes more sense to you? I teach them about assets and liabilities. What's an asset? An asset makes you money. Liability takes money away from you. Which one makes more sense? What my kids say. Daddy, the apartment building makes more sense. Why? Well, the car, we got to pay for the car, but the apartment building, that makes us money. I said, exactly. Now, let me ask you this. You got $100,000 in cash and you got $100,000 in credit. Would you want to purchase the apartment building with $100,000 in cash or $100,000 in credit? What did they say? Well, Daddy, it makes more sense to purchase the house with the credit cards. Why? Well, because I could keep the $100,000 in my pocket and we could just use Visa's money to go buy the apartment building. And why would you do that? Because we could use the profits that we make from the asset to pay back the credit cards, and then we got the $100,000 again. Say, y'all paying attention. Y'all learning. And then what? What else do you get from owning the apartment building? Well, Daddy, we get appreciation. We also get depreciation. We also get the loan pay down. And we go refinance that in 3 to 5 years. And what does refinancing do for you? Well, loans aren't taxable, Daddy. You taught us that. Loans aren't taxable. So when we go refinance that building, all that money goes into our pocket. And who pays back the loan? Well, the tenants who rent from us, they pay back the loan. You see why financial education is important? See, this is why I discussed in that video, I talked about why getting out of debt should not be the goal. Because when you get out of debt, you're at zero. But if you understand how money works, if you understand what an asset can produce, you will go into debt to get the asset because you understand the asset will pay back the debt, not you. See, the system is designed for you to give your life force. What is life made up of? Life is made up of time. And what is time attached to when you work a job? Time is attached to your physical location being at that job. Therefore, the system is designed to take your most valuable asset and use it to build their systems. What's your most valuable asset? Your life, your time. See, all money is attached to time. All money is attached to time. But wealthy people have their money attached to time differently than poor people. And this is why you got to understand how the system works so you can be educated and aware and make better decisions to leverage yourself up to where you're benefiting from time being attached to money in perpetuity. As time moves forward, your money can grow instead of using your time and exchanging it for money only, which means you could end up being 60, 70, 80 years old still working. And that's exactly why my heart breaks when I'm in Walmart and I'm in Target and somebody, I see their faces. I see that person checking me out at the Walmart. They don't want to be there. They're still working. The greeter at the Walmart, old enough to be my grandfather. The person taking my order at the fast food restaurant, old enough to be my grandfather. When I go into different areas outside and the employees are old enough to be my grandmother or grandfather, you sit them down and you ask them about it. The decision, they're going to tell you. It was my decision making. I was unaware. I didn't know. This is what I was taught. This is what I was told life was supposed to be like. You work hard for your money. Biggest lie ever told was hard work pays off. No, it doesn't. You're working. There's a lot of people. Let's not even talk about you. There's a lot of people you know that are working very hard and it's not paying off. Because guess what? The system understands somebody got to drive the school buses. Somebody got to work the job. Somebody got to flip the burger. Somebody got to sell the car. My dream car, somebody got to sell it to me. They understand that. Somebody got to sell it to me. Somebody has to work so the affluent can enjoy your labor. Somebody got to cater the big events that I throw. Right? Somebody got to give the white glove service. Somebody got to drive my car for me. Somebody got to fly my plane. We need employees. Like I said, I'm not against jobs. Jobs are good. But everybody got a decision to make. Everybody got a decision to make of how they want to make money. Like some decisions lead to a higher quality of life, a higher experience. And some people make decisions where they don't figure this stuff out that I talked about over the last 54 minutes in this video. Some people don't think and figure this stuff out. And so that burning building that I talked about, that analogy that I gave, they don't see it. They can't see it. They just usher their children right into it. And that perpetuates generations of people working for other people's comfort. When you can understand that your whole financial future, if you got children, you got 2, 3, 4 children, it's as simple as organizing and making better decisions with your money, understanding those environments where money grows and understanding the conditions of those environments. So you understand how to get your money growing. You know what causes people to not make these type of decisions? Fear. Fear. I've had family members tell me, stay away from credit cards. Charles, if you can, don't get no credit cards. Credit cards are bad. I've had family members tell me this when I was 16, 17, 18 years old. I graduated high school when I was 17. I was in college at 17 years old. And I've had family members tell me, stay away from credit cards. Why? They were putting their fear on me. They were putting their bad decision making with those credit cards on me. Credit cards aren't bad. People make stupid decisions with credit cards, get themselves in debt, and now they have compound interest that they're paying because they bought liabilities with the credit. Fear will prevent you from doing that. Watch this. You don't miss day 90. Because I'm about to crush some toes on day 90. On day 90, I'm going to set some people free. I saved it for the last video of this series. I'm going to crush some people's toes. I'm going to uproot some bad generational teaching about money on day 90. But people put their fears and their bad decision making on other people because they never took the time to understand how these systems work. Because the truth of the matter is, if you understood how much money assets could make you, you would go into as much debt as you possibly could to get the assets. I can't wait to go $2 billion in debt. Because that $2 billion in debt is going to make me $600,000, $700,000, $800,000 a month. And I'm not paying off the debt. My tenants will be paying off the debt. So am I really in debt if I'm not even paying it? And like I told you, refinancing those buildings, debt is not taxable. That is money going into my pocket. That's wealth that I'm extracting from my assets, putting into my family trust, my family instruments, my family businesses for me and my children, my legacy. And who's paying it back? The tenants are going to pay back the loans that I'm taking. You got to understand real estate. You have to. And you don't have any excuse. You know what I did? Let me tell you what I did. You know how I started understanding how powerful real estate was? I went to this gentleman named Robert Kiyosaki, who's been teaching about this stuff for over 50 years. He's got a whole YouTube channel with nothing but valuable information. I stopped watching TV. I stopped watching sports. I stopped listening to the radio. I stopped watching movies. And for 4 months straight, all I did was watch Robert Kiyosaki's videos about real estate while I was working my job. Driving to work, listening to Robert. While at work, listening to Robert. On my lunch break, listening to Robert. Get home while I'm eating dinner, listening to Robert. Educating myself. It's free. That takes no money to go learn about why 90% of Americans made their money in real estate. And there's this guy giving all the information away for free, but people are too distracted and too fearful. And that's why they won't make the decisions that I'm talking about in this video. That's why they won't go into as much debt as they possibly can. Fear. Fear will prevent them from doing it. But if you understood how real estate works, you would be trying to get your hands on as much real estate as possible right now. Because I'm telling you right now, those Wall Street firms, they understand real estate. Go on ChatGPT and start asking questions about how many Wall Street firms own real estate in America. This information is free. But fear prevents people from taking this path. It's easier to be average like everybody else. And yeah, I know this is going to be longer than an hour. I'm letting y'all know right now. This is too important. I'm not even done. You got to understand this stuff. You were born into a system. This system was in operation long before you got here. And this system is designed to steal your time away from you and get you focused on purchasing liabilities while all the wealthy people are focused on purchasing the assets, because assets lead to wealth. You're not on a path to wealth until you're buying assets. You're not on a path to wealth until you have passive income coming from those assets. And it don't take thousands of dollars to get on this path. I'm helping people do it with as little as $10. See, as technology gets better, access to information gets better. So there's no excuse today. Our parents' generation had excuses. Our grandparents' generation, they had excuses. They didn't have access to the information. We do. So no matter how you old, or no matter how old you are watching this video, no matter where you are on the planet watching this video, there is now access to information that can change the trajectory of your financial life. All you got to do is be invested into the information and then take action. But fear will prevent you from doing that. You know what gets that fear to disappear? Education. How can I speak so confidently about this stuff? I educated myself. Somebody asked me somebody asked me a few days ago, one of my newest students was like, Charles, her husband was like, Charles, where did you learn all this stuff? I said, self-taught. Self-taught. I wanted the information. I spent 4 years learning everything I could about money, because in 2008, when I saw on the news billionaires were jumping out of windows, jumping off of bridges, committing suicide, I didn't understand why. I'm like, everything looks normal to me. Why are billionaires jumping off of bridges and in buildings? Why is they so scared about this market crash? In my world, everything looks normal. I'm going to work, everything looks normal. That bothered me. I need to understand why these billionaires were jumping out of windows. What's so bad? So I took 4 years of consuming anything I could about money. So yeah, if you want the information, you got to go get it. You got to understand how the system works and then use this system to your advantage. If you live in America, you have one of the biggest advantages on the planet. We got this thing called a credit system, where based on your credit score, you can get access to capital. Access to capital means you can go get assets. Getting assets means you're building legacy money. And that asset will pay back whatever loans you got. Again, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just talking about what I'm doing. I'm talking about what Robert Kiyosaki taught. I'm talking about what wealthy people do. This is not my information. This is what I learned. And because I educated myself, I have no fear. I have no fear. That's why 2026 is going to be the biggest, most profitable year for not just me, but for all my students, because I'm giving all the information. Everything. I spent 90 days going over this information that built this mindset that you're listening to right now. That's what I'm saying. A change in perspective, new information, higher quality information is the beginning of financial elevation. Because once you're aware and you know, you can make better decisions. You can apply these principles and actually turn it into money. Once you understand how this system works, then you can use this system to your advantage. Like I said, if you live in America and you have a credit score, You got one of the biggest advantages known to man on the planet. You can get access to capital based on your credit. So what is one of the biggest things that you should be focused on in 2026? Fixing your credit. Because the moment you get good credit and you can get access to some money, and you spent time educating yourself about these environments that cause money to grow, you get access to the capital. Now you can make better decisions with the money and actually start building some wealth. Guess what I'm doing inside of my community? Take a wild guess. Take a wild guess what my students have access to. See, I'm not just teaching people how to trade and how to grow money, how to make money. I'm giving them frameworks too. And I'm giving them access to the information. So you don't got to go search for a credit repair program. It's in my community. Reputable people. Real testimonies like mine. It's in my community. Everything I'm talking about, I'm doing. Everything I'm doing, everything I'm saying in these 90 days of value, I'm actually executing. So you don't have to go out and try to figure out who's reputable, who's not. I got it all available in my community. It's all there. So I'm not just teaching about how the system works and then telling you go out and figure out how to use it to your advantage. I'm actually showing my students how to do it. I'm giving information on how to go buy a car the right way. If you're going to go get a car note, right? How to negotiate to buy a car. Why did I go learn how to sell cars? Because I wanted the inside information. See, when I want information, I'll go do it and make money from it while I'm learning. I learned that from Robert Kiyosaki. Go read Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and how he talks about how his rich dad taught him. I got the principle from him and I went and applied it. The principle that his rich dad gave him was, hey, you don't work for free. I mean, excuse me. He said, when you want information, you don't get a paycheck. You don't get a paycheck. You go learn. You get a mentor. Right? And I took that principle and I took it one step further. I said, all right, I'll get the money and the information at the same time. I knew I wasn't going to be there long. I only sold cars for 4 months. But I wanted the information. I knew that this was one of the biggest debt traps known to man. I need to understand how that works. I went and learned how to do taxes. Why? Because I understand that the tax code is built for wealthy people. I need to know what's in it. I need to know how it works. So I went and got certified to do taxes. I did taxes for one tax season from December to April and learned how to do taxes. When y'all hear me say I didn't work a traditional job since April 2013, well, guess what I did in 2014? I was doing taxes. So it wasn't a traditional job. I was making interest, but I was learning a skill. That's why I say I haven't worked a traditional job since April 2013, because I did have jobs after that. But guess what? It was for a purpose. It was for a purpose. And I was making money and extracting information at the same exact time. So yeah, I teach my students, hey, when you want to go negotiate for a car, this is how you do it. This is how that system works, and this is how you use it to your advantage. This is how you negotiate a lower interest rate. This is how you don't walk into a dealership and get taken advantage of. One of the biggest purchases you'll make in your life. You don't think that's valuable information? I equip my students. And I'm not just on this video talking about how the system works and then sending you into the world to go figure it out. I figured it out. So you don't have to. All you got to do is listen. Like, not financial advice. I don't not listen to my financial advice because I'm not giving financial advice. I'm just telling you what I'm doing with me and my family and what I learned and what I'm executing on. And you can go see and research and see if what I'm saying is right or wrong. Ask my students. Go look and ask my students about my testimonies. Go through my YouTube channel. There's plenty of testimonies on there. Go see what I've been helping people do since 2012. Go see how much I've been helping people. Go see how I've helped people retire in the last 8 years from what I know how to do. It's not arrogant. It's just what it is. It's true. So yes, you were born into a system, but once you're aware of how this system works, you can take the principles and use it to your advantage. You can flip it on its head. And instead of paying compound interest for your whole life, you can have compound interest working for you your whole entire life. Right? Where's that video that I did on compound interest? Compound interest. Go watch video or day 78. Wealth building explained. I did one on compounding money. I'm gonna give you that one. Collapsing time and skipping levels. That was a really good one. Day 64. Go listen to that one. Collapsing time and skipping levels. There was one specific one that I did on compound interest, and I want to give it to you. What day was it? What does it mean to leverage? Day 53 was really good. Right? Preparing for increase. Day 52, really good. Cash, asset, cash. The formula to building wealth. Cash, asset, cash. The formula to wealth building. Day 47. Compound interest. Do you really understand it? I did that on day 44. Go listen to that. Go listen to that. But ladies and gentlemen, if you're watching this video on YouTube and you don't know where to start, you don't have the information. I work with people all over the world. It doesn't matter where you are. Go to the description box of this YouTube video and I'll show you. Like, contact me using the information I put in the description box of this video and ask literally, Charles, what are you doing? How do I do what you do? Go ahead and contact me, reach out. I'll give you the information. Same thing on Facebook. Look at the chat, look at the comments, and then tag me, get my attention. Somebody says, so basically I need to go back and watch all the videos. Gotcha. Yeah, I'm telling you, listen, this is day 88. I got 87 videos, 87 days straight where I'm teaching all the things that I did, all the information that I got that took me from working 3 jobs, 7 days a week, to making more money than I've ever made in my entire life from home, comfortably, all the way up till now. 87 days straight. This is day 88. I got 2 more. Tomorrow, and then day 90. 89 and 90. And then this will be available forever. 90 days of content that will shift your perspective and show you what you need to do. Right? And listen, like I said, in my community, see, these 90 days are designed to give you the information that shifts your perspective and helps you understand how close you are to really elevating your life. That's what these 90 days are designed to do. Inside my community, we're executing everything I talked about these 90 days. We're executing it. We're actually doing it. The credit piece. You need information on how to do that, how to get your credit right. I have it. You need information about how to actually get access to business funding. It's in my community. You need the information on how you can start gaining a skill set to grow money, understanding how to grow money, where those environments are, how the conditions of those environments are set up for that money to grow. It's in my community. Residual income, why it's so important. What systems actually are really valuable that you can start. You can start a business for $170 right now. You can start a business, watch this, for $10 global. You can start a business, you can start a travel business. I have that in my community. Residual income, why it's so important. In my community, ready to go. Passive income streams in my community, ready to go. What I'm going to teach the second quarter of this year in my community, I'm telling y'all right now, I'm going to shut down my community. I'm going to educate my students, everybody in my community. And when I repost it, the price tag is going way up because the amount of money that, like, my community is built on what I'm doing to create millions for my family. It's not financial advice, but I leave the breadcrumbs. I leave the footprints in the sand for you to walk right in them. I'm not a financial advisor. Like I said, I don't give financial advice. Got to stay compliant. Got to stay legal. Right? So listen, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not certified. You should go seek professional help if that's what you want. All I'm doing is talking about what I learned and what I'm executing with my family and giving the resources that I'm using. And if you decide to use it, that's your decision. You just got to understand. You got to be smart enough to understand what I'm saying while I'm saying it. You understand? Right? So that's what my community is built upon. Right? I spent a lot of time and energy collecting all this information for this specific purpose so I can get wealthy and so my children can be wealthy. So when my grandchildren are born, from the very first moments that they enter this world, they're already making money. They're already wealthy. All their dreams, all their goals, they'll be able to go after them. Why? Because now you're not worried about money. And people don't understand, like, money is important. It's extremely important. And people have this mentality like it's bad to talk about money. No, that's incorrect thinking. Don't miss day 90. It is my mission to uproot generations of bad thinking and bad decision making when it comes to money. And it's going to shock you what I got to say on day 90. And don't miss tomorrow's too, because tomorrow's going to be really good as well. But yeah, I am accessible, right? I'm accessible. If you're watching this video and you want the information, I love an inquisitive person because it means you're ready to go to the next level. You're ready to learn, right? And so tomorrow, I'll give you tomorrow's title. I don't usually do that, but tomorrow I'm going to be talking about, on day 89, 3 of the most important things I wish I would have known sooner in life. 3 of the most important things I wish I would have known sooner in life. These are the 3 things that I give my children, that I talk to them ad nauseum about, right? And this is what I want. This is really what I want you to do. I want you to take the content in these 90 days of value, and I want you to sit your children down and start having these conversations with them. It's extremely, if you want to build a legacy, what's more important than making the money is giving them the mindset to keep the money that you're making. See, the goal should not be for you to amass money in your lifetime that you can spend. I want to amass so much money in my lifetime that 400 years into the future, they're still spending my money. Think about what I just said. My children, the money they make, they won't have to spend. They'll still be spending my money. My grandchildren, the money they make during their lifetime, they still won't spend their money. They'll be spending my money that I'm making right now. And people want to run around and dance and get away from this subject of money like it's not important. Money ranks up there in importance, right up there, right next to air. You just got to have it. And anybody who says money is not important, money ain't that serious, it's not that deep, get away from that person as fast as possible. I don't hang around broke people with broke mentalities. I don't want that nowhere near me. Because guess what? They're delusional. Money is extremely important. And until we start talking about it, understanding how it works, and passing this information down to our children, you are perpetuating, trying to find a nice way to say this, you are perpetuating something that will hurt your generations. You're perpetuating something like, we say we love our children, but this is a conversation that I had with myself years ago. We say we love our children, but do we really? Would you do anything for your kids? Anything? Would you go learn sales for your children? I don't like sales. You might as well say I don't like money. See, when I really thought about it, I said, you know what? Yeah, I'll take my life. Nobody did it for me, but I'll do it for them. I'll take my entire life and dedicate it to learning how money works, setting up a legacy so my children, they can be comfortable. I'll dedicate my life to it. And once I figure it out, I won't hold the information to myself. I'll give it out freely. I'll start telling people about it because nobody did it for me. Nobody did it for me. Come on, mama. Money answers all things. That's long generational money. Guys, like I always say, if you have an option between believing big and believing small, why would you believe small? It's free. It's a free decision. If you got you got the ability to choose to believe for the biggest, highest experience in life, or believe for average, why would you believe for average? Why would you have faith for less? Have faith for more. Big faith. Big faith. And anybody else in the world who's done it, that's the evidence that you can do it too. Anybody, pick a person. If they did it, that's evidence that you can do it. All you got to do is make the decision. You were born into a system, and this system is in operation, right, to cause a certain result for billions of people. Like I don't care. I don't care today. I don't care. Something else just came to my mind, right? I'm gonna say this. Listen. Take the last 5 to 10 years. If you live in America and you got an income tax check, where's that money? What did you do with it? Take the last 5 to 10 years of your income tax check. If you live in America, where did that money go? Where did that money go? You want to know why the wealthy are wealthy? Because every single time you spend that money, 5 to 7 billionaires get richer every single transaction. Every single transaction. Every single transaction. When you swipe that debit card or that credit card anywhere, who is collecting the money? Who owns those systems? Billionaires. Every time you swipe that card, there's 5 to 7 billionaires on the other side of that transaction, no matter what store you're in, that are getting wealthier. Now, I want you to look around the store and look at all the people that are in the store at the same time you're shopping. All of them are about to do the same type of transactions. And every single time, 5 to 7 billionaires get richer. Now, think about who's in the store when you're not in the store. All those people, 5 to 7 billionaires get richer every single transaction. That's why they get wealthier. So when you think about your income tax check, when you got it in your hands, I know exactly what your future looks like based on what you do when money touches your hands. If you're asset-minded, you're going to be wealthy. It's easy. It's simple. If you're asset-minded, you're going to be wealthy. But guess what? If you look at the last 5 to 7 years and you got that income tax check and you don't know where that money went. It's gone. Guess what? Guess who collected it? Billionaires. Because they own all the box stores. They own the online places that you shop. That's why the wealthy gets wealthier, because every single time money gets into the system, Millions of people are trained to be consumers, and they spend. And the people on the other side of those transactions are the billionaires. Ladies and gentlemen, this is simple. When you touch money, you need to be asset minded. Simple. You want to build wealth? You need to be skill minded and asset minded. That's what I say. Like, I have students that have come and go. I can't make people focus. I can't. Right? I'm not a dictator. I'm just a vessel. I distribute very valuable information. I can't make people listen. But the ones who stick with me and the ones who listen, they elevate. Period. They elevate. It's not an arrogant thing. It's just the truth. I know what I'm talking about. I know what I'm doing. And I'm doing it for me and mine. And the ones that want to go, I take them with me. It's that simple. But people have a focus issue. They have a belief issue. That's what, go through these 90 days of value. That's the information I'm pumping out in these 90 days of value is designed to pierce that issue of belief. I'm trying to raise your belief in yourself and what you believe is possible. I'm trying to help you understand how this system works in this video so you can then be aware and now start making some better decisions. Come on. The man who created the chip and credit cards gets paid every single swipe. Just imagine how many people have credit. Y'all, it would blow your mind. It would blow your mind if I told you the conversations that I've had with people like that. People, I met the daughter of the individual who created the system that every hospital in the world operates. He created the system that every hospital operates. And he makes, I think he said like 3 cents from every transaction in every single hospital because he created that system. Multi-billionaire. Every time you swipe a debit card or credit card, 5 to 7 billionaires get richer. It's a system. And once you understand how this system works, right? Once you build your belief in yourself, then there's endless possibilities of how far you can take this. You can go as far as you want to go. All opportunity is not created equal, y'all. All opportunity is not created equal. That's why I focus on certain things, particular things that create wealth. What day was that? Where I talked about it a little bit yesterday. My 3-step framework to financial elevation in day 87. Right? This is how close you are to millions. Day 85 was really good. Day 84, going from $200 commissions to $20,000 commissions, that was the one. Day 84. Simple math, going from $200 commissions to $20,000 commissions. There's a method to my madness. There's a method to my madness. There's a method to the way I do business. And the business decisions that I make. See, I believe that it doesn't have to be hard to make money. There's a way to go from point A to point B in the shortest amount of time possible, but in the most profitable way possible. All opportunity is not created equal. All information is not created equal. That's why I'm involved with cryptocurrency. That's why I'm involved with tokenization. You're going to hear this term tokenization over and over again for the next 5 to 10 years. A wealth transfer is taking place right under your nose. If you are not involved with tokenization, you are about to miss out on the biggest wealth transfer known to man. This is the last wealth transfer of our lifetime. Tokenization. I'm telling you right now. I'm telling you what I know. You were born into a system, and once you understand how it operates, you're aware. And that awareness gives you the ability to make better decisions. And that's what this is all about. I know you got something from this. I am encouraging you to get into these 90 days of value. I put so much value in this. I've never seen somebody go over in great detail the mindset shifts that they had to go from where they started to their elevated place financially and break it down in great detail. That's what these 90 days of value are designed to do. If you get into this information, not only are you going to get better belief in yourself, but it's like a light bulb is going to get turned on, and it's going to go from darkness to light in an instant. What you once were blind to, you'll be aware of. And then you can start making better decisions in your life, and better decisions lead to a higher quality of life. 2026, this is January 1st, 2026 at the recording of this video. I don't care when it is. Whenever you're watching this video, it doesn't matter. It could be 10 years from now. Whenever you're watching this video, it could be April 28th, whatever day. This is the day your life can change, because you can start making better decisions and put together a string of good decisions, and life can change just like that. It don't take long. It don't have to take forever. But like I said, all opportunity is not created equal. There's certain industries that you can enter and absolutely change your life. I'm in those industries, right? So I think I squeezed every amount of value I could out of this video, okay? Take this information extremely serious. We got 2 more days, guys, and this 90 days of value is complete. And I got another series that I'm doing after this 90 days, right? That's going to be very, very good. This next series that I'm about to do, whereas these 90 days were really about the mindset shifts that leads to financial elevation, this next series of videos that I'm going to do, if you think this is valuable, you got some work to do. If you just now catching up, you got some work to do. You gotta, hey, you might need to turn off reality TV, turn the television off, stop listening to music. I made those decisions. You're gonna have to do it too, right? We got some things to do. We got to get to it. You might need to cut all that stuff off and dive into these 90 days of value, so you can start understanding how to elevate your life, and then get into this next series that I'm about to do. I'm 2026, I'm giving massive amounts of value. I already started. The momentum is already here. These 90 days are already recorded. You want to change your life? I'm giving you the sauce on how to do it. I'll see you guys tomorrow for day 89. I'm Mr. Kingdom Cash Charles Dyson. This is what I tell people. I know if I can help you change your perspective, even if it's just a little bit, I can help you change your life. Everybody be blessed. Peace.